This is Bruce Beck, and you're watching another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. This week, we examine the Rack, one of the best home courts in America. In Waters Ways, we check in on Practice 101. The Scarlet Knights battle number 4 Syracuse down to the wire. And in our night profile, it's senior co-captain Jewel Wiggin. All that and more coming up next on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Here we go, steal.
From Brower Commons in New Brunswick, New Jersey, we welcome you to another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Beck, along with the coach, Gary Waters. Won a game this past week at the Rack. Rutgers taking on 19-1 Syracuse. Coach, you end up on the short end by 2. But what a college basketball game.
Oh, what a game it was. I mean, it was the best game I've been involved in quite some time. And, you know, when you come out on the short end, especially when you've been in control the entire game and you have a big lead, these type of things, you really feel all the frustration at the end of a game when you just come short.
Rutgers up by 18 at the break, and Coach, you scored 54 points against Syracuse. The most they had allowed in a half this year against any ball club was 38.
Yes, and I thought our kids came out in the first half and played a magnificent first half. I mean, they moved the ball. They just broke down the zone. The zone was not even existing if you'd watched the entire makeup of it. I mean, it's constantly, they moved the ball, they shot the ball, and I thought we got out in transition, and we were scoring in a number of ways. But in the second half, some things went wrong.
All right, so Syracuse comes back in the second half. They actually go up 80-74. But your ball club shows their mettle there. You could have easily said, oh, we blew the lead, the game's over. You come back and you take the lead.
Yes, and, you know, it's more than that. You know, it's the start of that second half. And they came out, and I got to give them credit. They came out and pressed us. And it allowed them back in the game very early. See, if that would have lingered on throughout the entire game, they may have never got back in it. But they got in it at the beginning of that game within the first 5 minutes because they didn't take off any time, and they still had a lot of time to play. But I tell you, you're exactly right. After the game, I went into the locker room and I told our kids, pick your heads up. Don't be down on yourself, because you did something that most teams don't do. When you lose a big lead like that, then you come back and retake the lead, and it comes down to the last play. You can't ask for anything better.
You did a wonderful job against their vaunted 2-3 matchup zone.
Oh, yes. I thought our kids executed. They looked for the openings. They got it inside. That's one of the things that they have hurt teams with their big size. They don't allow you to go inside. We got it inside. Ollie Bailey had some good looks and good layups in there. Even Byron Jones did a good job against that zone inside.
And Byron Jones is really coming around. We're seeing some consistency from him. He's doing a job on the boards, and he's giving you energy.
Yes, he's giving us energy, and, you know, he has that ability. The thing we have to do is make sure that we keep him out of foul trouble. Even in that game, if you remember, the last 5 minutes he did not play. He would have gotten that last rebound.
What did your ball club learn from dealing with their press, and is it something as you go forward in conference play that you'll be able to handle better?
Oh, we learned a great deal, and then, you know, sometimes you have to go through those games. You just hope it don't go. It's the game that you win and things go well. But, you know, our next opponent will do the exact same thing, press. Now we're ready for something like that.
All right, let's go back to the final play of the ball game. Gary, you call a timeout. You get the exact play you want. An open 3 from Quincy Doobie in the corner. And what happens? The ball was in and it came out.
Well, it must have meant it's not our day. And, you know, that literally happens when you're playing a team that's on a run like that. When a team is 19-1 and haven't lost, they win some games they're not supposed to win, you know, because they're 19-1. Same thing happens with you. If you're in a season, you're going to win some games that you're not supposed to win, but you're going to lose some that you think you should win.
Thought process when you were setting up that last play. Tell us what was going on in the huddle.
Well, we had one play set and that we work on every day at practice, and it's a pretty good play. But the key was they called a timeout, if you remember, before that. And in my mind, I said, nah, you know, this is not the play. Let's do this other play. And we set up another play, and they executed it, and they got it where they wanted, and they got the shot, and I couldn't complain.
A couple of individual performers in the game I want to talk about. First of all, Marquise Webb, 11 assists, career high.
Oh, I thought he did an outstanding job of passing the ball, and I thought he did a good job of defending in there. See, McNamara scored 21 points, and you see that. But you know he only scored 2 baskets on Marquise Webb. And I mean, he ran him down, but the problem is, you know, in transition, you got to pick him up all over the place, and that's why he scored those points.
I'm talking about offense, you're talking about defense. Let's talk about both with Ricky Shields, because he had a double-double, third in his career.
Oh, I thought he played hard. I thought he hit the big shots. The only thing, if anything, I could have changed of redoing the script, in that last 6 minutes, I think he only took 1 or 2 shots. We need to get him more shots in those moments.
So how would you summarize this ball game? What do you take out of it, Coach?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take my team and I'm gonna put them in a room, and I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna list the 4 teams they've played that are all ranked teams: 4, 12, 25, 22, and we've beaten only 1 of them. Okay, and when you look at that, you say, well, what's wrong with you? Are you good enough? When you play the way we've played, each one of those teams, that tells you have the ability to win these games. And now they just got to have confidence in doing it.
Well, we in the media enjoyed watching this game, and I know the fans did. Unfortunately for you, you have to live with it.
Oh, boy, I had to live with it all the way until your next game. You live with it, I tell you.
When we come back, we'll talk about the rack, which was absolutely alive and buzzing for the ball game against Syracuse. One of the best home courts in America, in a moment. Welcome back to Inside Rutgers Basketball from the Brower Commons in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Bruce Beck along with the coach Gary Waters and the Rutgers Athletic Center, one of the great home courts in college basketball. It opened in 1977, and Coach, you had another sellout the other night against Syracuse. What is the building like when it's alive with that kind of energy?
Oh, boy, I tell you, it was electrifying. I mean, you could feel it going through the entire game. And even, you know, when we took the lead and extended it, they just got louder and louder. And the positive thing was, when they came back on us and they knew that we were in trouble, they just got louder and louder because they were trying to help us. When you get a fan base like that, you have a great place to play in.
Would you like to come in here as a visiting coach and take on RU?
Oh, well, talk to Beheim about it.
Here's a look at the Rutgers Athletic Center. It's known as the Rack. It's our cover story on this week's show.
Fans are right there and slam on the court, and they give great energy, great support each and every game.
It's crazy. It gives me, like, I try to come out with a lot of energy, but when I get out there, it's a whole new high. It's just a lot of adrenaline.
We're very fortunate to have what we have here at Rutgers University in the Rack. It's just exciting here.
Oh, the Rack is awesome, especially when the crowd gets into it. You know, you're out there producing, you have the crowd on your side, and you just get that feeling like no one can beat you here.
The Rack is one of the most intimidating buildings in the country for a visiting team to play. It's electric in every way, with the fans right on top of the action and rooting their hearts out.
There's a great synergy here between our fans, the building, and our team, and it all comes together in one. You can almost sense it that the fans are saying, all right, we're ready to go. There's no other place on the East Coast to play college basketball than the Rack.
It's special because I think the fans make it special. You know, they get on their feet, they clap. They're not one of those type of fan business where they just sit on their hands and wait for you to do something. They try to help you get involved and get you going. And I think the style of play with us pressing and getting up in people and doing those things, you know, that excites them.
it's phenomenal. I mean, I don't know a lot of places in the country that's like that. I mean, the fans cheer for you. I mean, even when you're not playing well, they still got your back, and it's just a really great experience. And you feel you can do anything.
I enjoy the crowd. When they get into the game, it's just a wonderful experience. I just love playing over here. This is a nice gym, so when it get real loud, like you feel the floor shaking, you don't hear nothing. It's a real nice experience.
The Rack is crazy when game nights. There's a lot of people here, and it gets real loud, and it just makes everyone excited and ready to play.
So with such a vibrant crowd, do the players feed off the energy?
Too much. I feed off the crowd too much. I gotta leave the crowd alone, because the crowd will make me take a shot I ain't supposed to take, But the crowd they're very special. They get you going. I mean, all it takes is 1 or 2, and if you could touch the ball down the court somewhere, and they already got on 3. So you gotta just keep your head and know that they're there to help you out, but just don't let them override your decision.
I was like, a few games, like when we played some big time games, I was like, yeah, I imagine how the opponents feel, because like I'm at home and I'm kind of feeling like, oh my God, this building about to collapse. Like I'm on the court and you feel the court actually bouncing up and down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy, man.
It's the best thing you can see from an opponent. Knowing that they're about to sweat even more, not because of what you're doing, but because of what the fans are bringing into it. They're actually the 6th man out there. You see guys starting to get nervous. They start shaking. They're missing free throws. Coaches start yelling at them. But the one thing, the coach is yelling at them, but the players can't hear a word what the coach is saying. So the Rack brings that atmosphere that makes people intimidated to play here.
Coming up, more with Coach Waters. Stay with us.
Have you ever started a car from across the road? Giving your backseat passengers a tan?
MSD. Inside Rutgers Basketball rolls on. Coach, up next, you've got the Villanova Wildcats. They've got a lot of talented guards. They come off a big victory over Kansas. Your thoughts on this ball club?
Well, they're one of the top 4 teams in the Big East right now. They're playing very, very good basketball. So I'm tell you, they're playing it on the defensive end. They're shooting the ball extremely well, and they got a lot of confidence. And I think one of the primary reasons is now it's their year. They've been together for 3 years, all these kids, and now all of a sudden they're starting to click.
Alan Ray, Mike Nardi, Randy Foy. You've got so many guys that can score.
Oh yes, Sumter. He's the inside scorer. They have the complete mix. Now, what we have to do is we have to offset some of that.
All right, that's the focus of this week's show in terms of Practice 101. It's one of Waters' ways. Gary, we always talk about philosophies and things that you embrace. This is the most important. This is practice where it all begins.
Oh well, I don't think you win games during the game. I think you win games at practice. When you heard that phrase, perfect practice makes perfect. That's what happens when you go to practice and you work hard at it. And if you play as hard as you play at practice and extend that to the game is just a formality.
And Gary, speaking of practice, Rutgers was 25 from 27 from the free throw line, 93% against Syracuse. That's your best mark ever in conference play. You got to look at practice once again.
Oh, practice does that. I mean, think about it. When you concentrate at practice at the free throw line, when you get to the game, it's something that is repetitious in your mind, and you just constantly do the same thing over and over again. And I hope it's make free throws.
The great Bobby Lloyd, a Rutgers All-America, used to make 50 free throws in a row before he ever left practice.
Oh.
Right now, Coach Waters and Practice 101, one of Waters' ways.
Good job, good job. Let's get back to it. Hop to it. Hurry up, let's go.
Our practice is real intense. You go into practice, everybody has to be up. We can't have a practice that's dead or anything, because that's just like you're out there just going through the motions. We gotta have Coach Waters. He loves a lot of intensity.
Yeah, way to call for it. Yeah, way to find him. Yeah, here we go.
Practice is fun. Practice is energetic. Practice is so many different things. I mean, you can count on great intense defense. Coaches really banking on how well we play defensively.
Good. Get up. Here we go. Up.
Every single day it's a challenge out there because Coach Waters and the whole coach staff is going to push you. Your teammates are going to push you, and there are no days off here.
To the net before that next guy shoot. Here we go. Yep, to the net before that next guy shoot. Good catch over there, Joel. Good hands. To the net before that next guy shoot.
Practice is something you have to get mentally ready for. There's going to be so much other things going on in practice that you have to be focused on. If you're not focused in practice, there's a chance you might not be focused in the game.
Stay there. Now look inside, get him. Don't force it, Beck. Good. Now go back. Go down, Jimmy, go down. Up.
He does a good job of trying to put them in game-type situations. All of our drills are very competitive, and like I said, they simulate the game. It's not just where they have to put practice situations into the game. He's trying to put the game into practice.
You ready to shoot? Good job.
Practice is intense. He makes sure that every guy's in there just being focused, throughout the whole practice, and just to stay strong and not just go out there and just to be going through the motion. That's real important.
When I catch my square up, boom, I find it. If I got it, boom, I fake down, boom. If I think I got this guy set up, fake down, boom, get it in. Let's move the ball. Here we go.
Our coach really focuses on with the younger guys, and even sometimes with some of the elder guys who may know how to do it, but he'll show them a different way to do it. He's very much a student of the game.
It's good. We got it right there. Now that ball's still all up here, Byron. You got to get it up here. Get it up there. I rebound the ball here. Okay, here. Where am I turning? Outside.
In practice, he's always on us. He's telling us that you practice the way how you play. So we want to practice to the best of our ability. We want to do everything that we want to do in a particular game.
Good job, guys. Good job. Here we go.
Good work today, y'all. We're coming in focused, man. Team on three. 1, 2, 3.
Hey.
Up next, the night profile with Joel Wiggins. Stick around.
Here we go. Steal down the middle. 1-on-1.
Time now for the night profile on Inside Rutgers Basketball. And Coach Gary Waters, Joel Wiggins. You've got to be smiling about his play this year.
Well, I'm smiling about more things than just his play. We're going to talk about basketball, but he's graduating this spring on time. And, that's the biggest thing. And you feel good about him. And that shows the complete person he has been. This year he's taken over being one of the captains, and he's done an outstanding job. And I think that all fits in. So he's now carried that onto the court, where he's been consistent each and every day.
He had a great ball game against Georgetown, 23 points. But more than that, he provides energy, he provides spark, and intensity defensively.
Oh, yes, and when he brings it hard, too. And, and he adds to our team. And what he does is he lifts our team. When they all get on his side and see what he's doing, they all want to do the same.
Joel Wiggins is in the night profile.
I've learned a lot from our previous seniors, and especially captains that I've had before, that's been influential to myself and to my teammates. So I kind of try to take bits and pieces from each captain that I've had in the past to help me maneuver my way into becoming a wonderful leader for this team. Like I look at the leadership qualities Rashad Kent had, which was wonderful for our team. Then I also look at the leadership qualities that Kareem Wright had as well, and Sean Exanian. I try to incorporate all of them to better myself and my teammates.
Wiggins left free, and he knocks it down from the free throw line.
what you can never forget about Joel Wiggin is he's done it before. He's been in tough Big East moments and experienced some winning games. He's had last year against Villanova, the biggest play of the game. This year against Charlotte, the biggest play of the game. He's a clutch player, and he's got that experience you can never, ever take for granted.
Long ball. Great offensive rebound.
The hard-nosed, defensive-oriented guard attributes his toughness on the court to his days growing up in the Bronx.
Definitely, that New York City playground mentality, it works to a great advantage if you know how to use it. It's basically the survival of the fittest when you're out there playing in New York, and then definitely when you're out here on a Big East court, it's basically survival of the fittest, and you try to bring that with you, especially coming from the Bronx. Is everyone out there that's coming after you, and you have to be prepared. Even after the game is over, there's going to be people trash talking to you, so you got to know how to handle that. You got to know how to handle the physicality of playing, and also the mentality of playing.
The Pittsburgh defense inside. If you notice, what they do real well is they collapse into the middle of the floor. Nice little drive there, though, to make something happen.
I mean, I've always had the reputation of being a good defensive player, but now I'm trying to make the entire team a great defensive team. When I'm out there, I'm trying to pinpoint each person into what direction they should be. If a person's out of place, I immediately grab them right after the play and help them understand what's going on.
Joel Wiggin has come a long way since his freshman season. He has earned the respect of his teammates and his coaches. And most importantly, he has prospered, both on and off the court.
The shot up and in. Joel Wiggin.
He's what college basketball is about, is that he exchanged his 4 years of playing for his degree. He's walking with his degree, but at least he leaves Rutgers with his degree. And too many times we focus just on the guys who are going to the NBA or trying to go to the NBA. Joel is going to have a great, successful life because he played hard here every moment. And those life lessons he's taken from Rutgers and his degree will leave him really prepared.
It's been a very emotional roller coaster here at Rutgers. But one thing I could say, I've learned so much things from Rutgers University that I don't think I'll learn from anywhere else. I will take the experience I've gained at Rutgers experience, and I will continue to use that once I leave Rutgers. It's been wonderful. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but it's a situation where it has helped me grow to become the person that I am today. The individuals that are around me, coaches, players, they've all helped me in the process, and I'll take that with me until I continue to leave here.
So, Gary, how would you like to see Wiggin end his career at Rutgers?
Well, obviously, you want him to graduate. That's number one. But as a player, you want to see him go out where he has a chance to go to some postseason tournament and still go out and play the way he's played throughout this entire year.
Coach, a pleasure being with you once again. Good luck this week.
Yeah, we need it.
That's it for this edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball from the Brower Commons in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm Bruce Beck for the Coach Gary Waters. We'll see you next week.
Have you ever started a car from across the road? Even your backseat passenger.
This is Bruce Beck, and you're watching another installment of Inside Rutgers Basketball. This week, we check out a group of hard-working players who don't get a lot of recognition, but are big contributors to the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers pulls out a nail-biter against Seton Hall at the rack. We'll have highlights. In Waters' Ways, we talk about the art of free throw shooting. And in our night profile, it's sophomore guard Marquise Webb. All that and more coming up next on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Here we go, steal, down the middle, 101. Bang him. Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery.
Does anybody want a Coke?
Yeah. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to your picture.
Rutgers University Bookstore in New Brunswick, New Jersey. We welcome you to another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Beck, along with the coach, Gary Waters, and the coach is smiling, and for good reason. Rutgers with an exciting victory over Seton Hall in overtime. And, Coach, that'll take a couple years off your life.
Oh, no, not a couple of decades. I mean, that was a tough game, and for us to come out of that victorious now, it just gives us a little relief.
And, Coach, the bottom line is you got the W. You figured out a way to win the game down the stretch.
Well, oftentimes it's better said than done. You want to be able to get that win, but when you've gone through that so many times and you have not received that victory, this becomes great, great joy.
Well, you shook up your lineup before this ball game. You brought Ricky Shields off the bench. You brought Quincy Doobie off the bench. What was your reasoning?
Well, one of the things is, especially in Ricky's case, we wanted to give him an opportunity to try to find himself and give him a chance to be able to see something different, because he was struggling just playing alone, not in the sense of, you know, should he be starting or should he not be starting. And I want to give him a different look.
Manny Casada makes his first start of the year, makes 5 of your first 8 points. I thought he did a good job overall.
I thought he did a great job. I thought he started the game. He started everything going for us. He set the tone. And when he plays like that, he can only help the guys that are coming off the bench.
What about Quincy Doobie coming off the bench? You talked about Shields. What about Quincy?
Well, Quincy, you know, I think, you know, when he came out and had 19 points, so he responded to that. And oftentimes you need a change just to be able to get back at it, and that's what Quincy needed at the time.
You talk about productive minutes, and Byron Joines gave you that, Coach. 38 minutes in this ball game, 7 points, 5 boards. He was a force.
Well, let me say this. In the 4 games that we had an opportunity to win in the last seconds, all 4 games, Byron Joines was not in the game the last 3 minutes. And we even talked to him about that before the game. We did not have Jimmy Inglis, and one of the things we said is you cannot get in foul trouble, and we need you down that stretch. And I thought he responded extremely, extremely well.
Jewel Wiggin, 11 points in the ball game, 4 for 5 from the field, and a big drive late.
Oh, outstanding drive, and he's seen it. And, you know, we were in the bench. Take him. And what he did was he set him up because Byron was coming up to set a screen. So the opposition was ready to respond to the screen. He just took it all of a sudden, had a layup.
Well, this game ends in controversy. The winning free throws made by Quincy Doobie. Coach, what are your thoughts? Was it a foul? Was it not a foul?
Well, whenever the official makes a foul call, I consider it a foul. But, you know, especially when it's against us.
It goes for you sometimes. Sometimes it goes against you.
You're exactly right, and we've been on the other end of that. Now, you know, in most cases, when you get down to a last minute like that, officials don't really make a call. But it's something that he may have seen. I don't know. When I look at the tape, I see certain things that could have gone any way, and that's how the ball bounces.
So Seton Hall walked off angry. You've walked off the court many times angry.
Oh, too angry. And, you know, and it happens so often that you sometimes have to realize that it's going to all balance out. I think sometimes you're going to have a situation where, you know, you're going to lose that call, and the next time you can gain that call. And this is one of the times we gained the call.
I like your honesty, Coach, and your candor. But what were you thinking when Quincy Doobie missed the first free throw and he has to make the second one?
Well, I tell you, it was funny. He went to the line, and I literally said, I'm going to close my eyes and listen to the sound of the crowd. Had no sound from the crowd after it. Just, whoa. Then I said, I better open it up to make sure I can see what goes on. And then he hit it. But you know what? I really didn't have any fear that he wasn't going to hit one of them because Quincy's such a great free throw shooter.
Hey, in Gary Waters' tenure at Rutgers, they have gone to overtime 8 times, and they have won 6 ball games. I think that says something about your coaching ability, Coach, and also about the way your kids react in a tough situation.
Well, they responded, and I don't know as much about my coaching ability, but I tell you, they responded to the situation. And in each time, I think they come out with a belief and a faith that they're going to be able to bring this through.
I've got to throw some humility into this show now, Coach. You're showing a lot of different attributes today. All right, you don't need to say anything else. We're going to take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to talk about the scout team, those guys that contribute, but people don't know that much about. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Rutgers University Bookstore and Inside Rutgers Basketball. I want to share some names with you right now. Aaron Washington, Shale Keating, John Mimo, Tyler Glass, Jason Cherry. A lot of people don't know these names, but Gary, they are key components to your basketball team.
And they're counter-related when you think about this. These are the 5 guys that get our team to play their very best basketball. They work hard each and every day. They're our scout team. They come out and give everything they got each and every day without receiving anything in advance or in the future. Because they may think, well, you know, people come out and they just play. No, they come to help the team only, and that's why they're good people for our program.
So even if these guys don't score a lot of points or grab a lot of boards, you still consider them key cogs in your machine?
Oh, they're some of the most important key cogs in our program because they have to do it right. If they don't do it right, we don't do it right at game time.
The scout team. It's our cover story this week on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
The thing I like much is that they're very humble. They understand that they don't have the scholarship and they're not going to get the accolades as everyone else. They're very humble. They come to work. They practice hard as anyone else, and they still do their schoolwork. I love the fact that a Shell Keating or a John Memo can come in every day and work hard and help us prepare, knowing that at the end of the day, they might not get the accolades that other people may get. And I have the utmost respect for those guys.
Way to go at it, Memo!
We basically just prepare the team for the game coming up. We run the other team's plays. We pretty much mimic everything the other team does throughout the whole game. We try to do exactly what they would do. Like if I'm playing a guy who would crash the boards hard, I would try to now practice and crash the boards a lot harder to get the team ready for what they're going to experience in the game.
Look, nothing there, nothing there. Ah, that's a drive, Shell, if you see it.
Our team, I mean, coming out of high school, they were all great players. They were some of the better players in New Jersey. So, I mean, practice is intense because, you know, we don't back down. I mean, there are a lot of times, you know, tensions will fly and, you know, words will be passed around, but, you know, it makes it all worth it. But definitely, you know, trying our hardest and playing our best and, you know, almost ultimately trying to, you know, frustrate the first team, you know, it gets the team better.
They learn all the plays that Coach Mans or Coach Card or Coach DeSimba teaches them, and they got to learn that and even learn our plays. So that's hard for them, and I know they've been doing a good job with it, and they've been working real hard at it.
We're preparing the starters and the people who got in the game, just preparing them for what they're going to face out there when they get into the game, as far as emulating other teams' tendencies and their plays and everything. Just getting to know them as well as they can before they get into the game so they can just execute well.
Without them, we wouldn't know what the other team was planning on doing. I mean, they run through the other team's stuff flawlessly, and they give great effort. You know, even though they may not get as much time on the court during the games, they're much overdue in the credit that they deserve for our success on the court because they put in the same grueling grinding hours as we do, both academically and athletically, and they're happy with their role, and that's what having a good team is all about, having guys who understand their role and want to do whatever it takes to help the team win.
They'll be here at 7 o'clock the day after a game, running through the opposition's plays, getting us ready, trying to play as much as the other team can play in terms of their play calls and their sets. And by the time we go and step out to play an opponent, those guys they're actually so in tune with what they're doing. They're calling things out from the bench and they're helping guys through things. And they really buy into their role, and they're so invaluable to our efforts.
It makes me feel good because, you know, after the game, the guys, like, you know, that are playing in the game, they'll come up to us and say, you know, good job. You know, we'll be calling out players on the bench that we can see, you know, if we know the calls and everything. So it makes me feel good because the coaches, you know, kind of congratulate us too because, you know, we put in a lot of work into it. And, you know, when we get those wins, you know, it makes us feel real good.
Just to have the opportunity to get out there and have a chance to become, you know, a major contributor to the team on a daily basis keeps me coming back, keeps me motivated to keep working hard.
This feels good to help the team get better, and you know we're getting better individually as well. So it's helping the team get better and prepare for the next game. It just feels good to be a part of it.
It's been a real great experience because, you know, coming out of high school, you know, your goal is to play at the highest level. It's a lot of hard work. You know, at times, you know, it's a really great experience.
1, 2, 3, bam!
Coming up, more with Coach Waters from the Rutgers University Bookstore. Stay with us.
Right now, get 2 nights in London for free.
It Stateside Rutgers Basketball rolls on from the bookstore in New Brunswick. All right, Coach, it's a big stretch coming up. You go to New England, you take on Providence, then you take on Boston College. Lucky for you, they got beat recently, but still, this is a tough stretch for your ball club.
And most teams that go on that stretch really have a tough time there because the whole atmosphere changes. It's a different brand of basketball, and they come out and they play very well at home. So you have to really come there prepared to do certain things to take control of the game, because if you don't, they will definitely take control.
So, Coach, you start this road trip with the Providence Friars, who you beat at home 72-67. That usually bodes well for a club knowing you've beaten them before.
Yes, you at least know that you've beaten them once. However, there's something to that. When they're at home, they're a different team. Most teams are different at home, so you have to take a different approach, and that's what we're going to have to do.
Hey, Gary, Providence has some pretty good talent. They've got some players who can fill it up.
Oh, they're a very good team. You know, they have great players. They can shoot the ball well. They just won a game so many nights ago against Virginia, and they shot the ball extremely well. McGrath ended up breaking an NCAA record. I think it was 7 for 7 in a row. Now, think about that. That's unbelievable. And why? Because he's at home and he feels comfortable. We're going into their home. We have to break that comfortable feeling that they have in that home.
Hey, Gary, I know Boston College lost to Notre Dame recently, but they still have a team that's loaded with guns from the inside and from the outside.
Well, not just lost a game, lost their first game. Now, when you put that in perspective, that means they're a very good team. And they're very, very good at home. They haven't lost at home. That was on the road at Notre Dame. So now they're coming back pretty angry. You know, they feel pretty bad about it. They were an undefeated team. They lose a game. They're really disappointed about that. So they want to take that on somebody. I think the biggest thing when you go on the road, you must control the tempo. If you don't, then you don't have a team.
You know what else you must do? You must make your free throws. And that's been a key to your team this year. You've been among the 2 best teams in the Big East all year in free throw shooting.
Well, that's a part of controlling tempo. When you're on the road, when you get those opportunities, you got to make those free throws count. But more importantly, you got to get to the line. The more times you get there, the better opportunity you have.
All right, you didn't shoot your free throws well against Seton Hall. But
No,
in most of the ball games before that, you were doing your job down the stretch.
Well, to be exact, before we went into the Seton Hall game, we were the #1 team in the Big East at the free throw line. And so we went in there with the mindset that we are going to make our free throws. And we had the opportunities. The thing I will say, we made the key free throws down the end, and that's one of the things that helped us.
By the way, Coach, I could make the free throw. Sign me up, right?
I got to give you an opportunity. Yes, yes.
This is Waters' Ways for this week. Free throw shooting.
Well, I think you got to have some type of ritual you go through when you approach the free throw line. Maybe some guys take dribbles, spin the ball, do a lot of different things, but you got to get comfortable with that and master that. So when you get to that free throw line, you almost got to be relaxed, because different situations you're going to be there. Sometimes you may be down 1. You could be up 20, but you want to go through that same routine that when you get there, it relaxes your body and you're able to make those shots. And it's just a constant repetition that you have to go through to execute that and be successful at the free throw line. It's you know, your body got to kind of take over your mind, and you got to just play the thing out and just sit there and make the baskets. It can be tough at times, though.
When I get the ball on the free throw line, I take 1 spin, 2 dribbles, and just take my time after that and shoot the ball. I try not to mess up that routine. If I happen to go off it when I'm practicing or anything, I'll throw the ball back and get it back and do my regular routine. I try not to vary from it, because I feel that is a routine when you get up to the free throw line, and you know, it's something that a lot of guys kind of overlook.
Oh, you know, you just gotta have a rhythm. You just go up there and focus on the basket, and you just gotta visualize in your head that the ball's going through the net. And that's all I do. I just go up there and just shoot the free throw.
A lot of the games are close, and mostly every game we play is close, and free throws are important. If you shoot better free throws, that's like you losing free points, you know. And like in practice, like after we do certain drills and stuff, when everyone's tired, we just go to the free throw line, everyone splits up in groups, and we shoot free throws.
Well, with free throws, you want to go in the gym first and practice your mechanics. You want to practice to the point where when you actually get into the game, you don't have to think about what your mechanics are going to be. You just go out there and do it naturally. So you come into the gym, you practice it, you practice it, you practice it. When you get to the games now, you just step up to the line and you shoot the free throw. And sometimes I try not to even think about the free throw, because with a sense of thinking about it, you already know your mechanics.
I gotta shoot a lot more than I have been, and I gotta just focus when I'm at the line instead of just shooting it like it's automatic. I gotta just take my time, concentrate, do my old technique, shoot it right over the front of the rim.
Personally, I shoot around with the managers. I shoot free throws with them. We do that. They say some quirky stuff, try to set me off because you hear that from the fans in Charlotte and all the Big East schools. So I do that and just try to prepare myself. Run a few sprints to get tired because that's when you're going to be shooting your free throws.
Next, the night profile with Marquise Webb. This is Inside Rutgers Basketball. I'm Bruce Beck along with the coach Gary Waters. Who was the very first New Jersey recruit that Gary signed? Marquise Webb. So I know you have a special place in your heart for him.
Yes, I do, but more importantly, he's a great player. And when you're the glue of our team, both offensively and defensively, and what I mean by that, not the person that scores all the points, not the person that get all the headlines. He's one of those guys that go out and do all the things that you need to keep your program together, and that's why we signed Marquise Webb.
Defensively is one of the reasons you love him.
Oh, I think he's the best defensive player in the Big East. That's barring none, because he can guard a guy from a top size to a low size. So I really don't consider him just any position. He can guard all positions.
Offensively, at the end of the game, do you look at his assists and turnovers and see how he ranked out?
He ranks one of the highest in the Big East, and that tells you, how consistent he is. And he doesn't worry about how many points he scores. He's worried about his team and making his team better. So he does everything to make his team have a chance to win the game.
The pride of the Garden State, Marquise Webb, in our night profile.
Well, Marquise Webb is an easy kid to talk about because he's really a special young man.
Rutgers loves to transition when the opportunity is there. And Webb drills a deuce in the corner.
He embodies everything that our program is about. He's about sacrifice for his team. He'll do whatever little things. He's about toughness, aggressiveness on the floor. Every game that we are done with, you can look across that stat sheet and he might not be the highest point getter, he might not be the highest rebound guy, but you know that he is going to get left his body out there on the floor for you.
I feel like if I go out there and work hard, there's no limit to the things I can do. Definitely aggressive, just attacking people on each end of the court.
Defense is where Marquise Webb is a force. It's where he excels. He often is asked to guard the opposing team's top player, and he oftentimes shuts him down. Marquise loves the challenge.
Defense is all about pride. You just got to go out there with the pride of just letting not anyone score on you, because I get offended when someone scores on me. I just try to make the person that I'm guarding just work difficult to get their shot off or just make a basket on me.
The biggest thing that Marquise does for us, which is such a great show of his sacrifices, he is absolutely our team leader when it comes to defending people. He is a great shutdown guy. I think he's a guy that maybe is the best defensive player in our league. And I'll tell you, the game that stands out is the game when we played Syracuse here. He guarded from Jerry McNamara, who's one of the best guards in the country, to maybe the best power forward in the country, Hakeem Warwick. And so here's a 6'5" guy that's got the versatility to be able to not just defend, but to almost essentially shut down those people for the time that he's defending them. So Marquise is a huge addition to our program from what he gives to us in all areas, but certainly this year his defending is standing out more than anything.
Webb understands that to be a great player, you have to be well-rounded, and he believes he's just that.
When you're a versatile player, you can do anything on the court. I just try to go out and practice, just work on everything, every aspect of my game, just making me a complete player. When teams just look at me or look at our team, you know, just not being one-dimensional player.
Oh, he's Derek Jeter. He does, you know, right now his assist-to-turnover ratio, any point guard in the country would like to have his assist-to-turnover ratio, but he fills it up. He's in the top in the conference and rebounding in the top 10 with that. Improved scorer, but the leadership and toughness he provides, he's the most unselfish kid you will ever want to find. The qualities that he has, he's the best intangible kid in the Big East.
Marquise Webb is a sophomore, but when it comes to leadership, he has the demeanor of a senior, always looking to help his teammates out in all facets of the game.
Oh, I definitely feel like I helped a lot of the guys on the team, especially I think I touched all the freshmen on this team this year. You know, when times are difficult for like Manny Casada and Danny Waterstrat, these guys come and talk to me, and I just give them support and advice and just tell them to keep positive head. You know, last year just came in as a freshman, you know, not knowing too much of the game, you know, just watching film and tape, just learning things that I didn't know last year and just improving my overall game, just doing the things that I wasn't better at last year that I'm doing well this year.
Marquise Webb, a 6'5" sophomore from Patterson Catholic High School. And Gary, when you think of Marquise Webb and you're looking at Quincy Doobie's jersey.
Well, I'm looking at the quality of this jersey, but I tell you this, Marquise Webb is the primary reason why Quincy Doobie does well on the offensive end.
Aha, you're talking about his playmaking ability.
That's exactly right. He's a great passer, and he gets the ball to him in the position so he can score. But you know what? I think you would look good in this jersey right here.
I don't know if I could shoot from 30 feet, but I'd like to take it.
But you can have Marquise Webb get the ball to you.
That's fair enough. Thank you, Coach. Always a pleasure. That's it from the Rutgers University bookstore. I'm going to work on my jump shot. Coach is going to work on his coaching ability, and we'll see you on the road on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Pass. We don't seem to.
You're locked into another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. In this edition, we'll take a look into the future of the Big East Conference. With the addition of 5 new teams, the conference will be tough to match.
Yeah, I can't wait till those new teams come to the Big East. It's gonna be, so I'm just ready.
We'll go inside the classroom in this week's Waters Ways. We're talking academics. 6'9" junior big man Jimmy Inglis is in our night profile. Plus, we'll sit down with the coach. It's all next on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Here we go, still down the middle. 101. Bang! Dunk! Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. I'm running all over y'all like a treadmill. I am the greatest. I'm the greatest. Can't stop it.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. I'm Rob Kennedy, joined as always by the coach of the Scarlet Knights, Gary Waters. And this week we're coming to you from the Rutgers Student Center here on the College Avenue campus here at Rutgers University. And Coach, since we were together last time, 2 tough games against nationally ranked opponents, but I'll tell you what, you guys went on the road up at BC, the number 3 ranked team in the country, and you certainly gave them a game.
Oh, a great game. In the second half, we had a lead, and we were playing with them, and I thought our kids continued to compete. They didn't stop, and down to the very end.
And Ricky Shields, a senior who recently became the all-time leading three-point shooter in Scarlet Knight history, he had a solid game with 16 points.
Yeah, very solid. I mean, he came out and he hit the open shots that he needed, but he also was aggressive on the offensive end and took it to the basket.
And Byron Joins with a career-high 12 rebounds. That's difficult against that BC front line.
And I thought he was tough in there because we literally held their top scorer, Smith, to 14 points, and you don't usually do that.
No, not many teams are able to handle Smith, but that again shows you the maturity of Joins as he continues to become a solid presence inside.
That's right. You know, at the beginning of the season, you know, people were wondering what would Joins do throughout this year, but, you know, he didn't play very much last year, and he needed this year to get his experience, and as each game goes on, he gets more and more experience.
Now we go to the UConn game, another sold-out crowd, national TV audience, and you ran into a buzzsaw UConn team playing very well coming down the
boy,
stretch.
they were hot as a firecracker, you know. And the thing is, we went out in that game and we said we're going to play them a zone, make them shoot it from the outside, because that, in our thoughts, was not their best area of shooting. So they came out and hit their first 5 out of 6 threes, and boom, before you know it, you know, you're in a buzzsaw.
And then they knocked down some threes, and then they go inside, and certainly Villanueva and Boone inside did a lot of damage.
Well, they literally have a pro front line, and when you have that kind of ability inside, it's kind of difficult to handle it at times.
And your backcourt played very well. Marquise Webb seems to always play well against UConn. He had 15 again.
Yeah, you know, and I tell you something, he did not back down. He kept going inside, even though they may block a few, and they're the #1 shot blocking team in America. Everyone knows that, but he didn't back down. He went in at them.
And Manny Casada got some good minutes and good production as well, double figures with 12.
Well, we had an opportunity to bring him off the bench and give him some playing time, and with that playing time, I think it's going to give him more confidence, and he showed against Connecticut.
And obviously trying to find some of your younger guys more time as the season winds down. Is that a conscious effort?
Yeah, we have to do that because, you know, I'm not saying we're giving up on the season because that's not the case, because we also had a Big East tournament. There's a lot of positive things still left for this season. But we got to be able to see what these guys can bring into our program next year, because that's going to be a key.
All right, and when we come back, we'll take a look at what's going to be the new Big East as the landscape throughout the conference is changing. We'll talk about that more in our cover story. That's up next after these messages.
Imagine bringing a
Welcome back to Inside Rutgers Basketball. As we mentioned, our cover story is the new Big East, as if this conference needed some more depth. Obviously, this year, the deepest conference in the country, as many as 7 bids probably coming out of this year's Big East. And then you go add 5 teams. I tell you what, this is going to be incredible next year.
Boy, I tell you, you say the deepest, and it is, even this year, the deepest. You know, from where the bottom of the league is to the top, they compete with anyone throughout the entire country.
Absolutely, and each of the last 2 years, the Big East has produced the national champion. You guys get to the NIT championship game last year. You talk about that depth, but when you add South Florida, Marquette, Louisville, Cincinnati, and DePaul, I mean, obviously, this is a conference with 16 teams, all of which are going to be competing for postseason play.
And I'm going to tell you, you can have as many as 9 and scratching 10.
Absolutely. 10 teams possibly coming back into the Big East next year that got into the NCAA tournament. Those are numbers that nobody has ever seen before. So certainly the landscape of this league will be something very interesting. You're also getting some teams from the Midwest. You guys have done a great job, especially with the incoming recruiting class, of taking care of business at home in New Jersey. But you've also had a lot of success recruiting in the Midwest, bringing in Cincinnati, Louisville, Marquette, and DePaul. You obviously get more exposure out in the Midwest as well. How will that help your recruiting in that area that's already been a strong spot for you?
Well, I think it'll help a great deal. And I think now that you're playing, now you can and say to kids today, hey, we're coming back home to your home, and you'll get it, and your parents and your friends and your support group will have an opportunity to see you play. So don't hesitate to think about Rutgers.
Well, absolutely. Well, we've talked a lot about what the new Big East is going to look like, and that's our cover story coming right at you. Next year, the Big East Conference will welcome in 5 new teams into what is already arguably the best basketball conference in the country. With the addition of the University of South Florida, along with traditional powers Marquette, DePaul, Cincinnati, and Louisville, the Big East will become the preeminent conference in the nation when it comes to college hoops.
Yeah, I can't wait till those new teams come to the Big East. It's going to be, even though it was hard now, it's going to be even a lot more challenging, and it's just going to make me work harder and get prepared for that situation. So I'm just ready.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be up to that challenge. You know, that's gonna give me a lot better. You know, be able next year play against the better guys and stuff like that. So I'm not too concerned about that. I just want to just go out there and just outwork my opponent every time. I mean, like you said, with the conference issue and stuff, it's gonna be tough. But like you said, you just gotta get everybody together and just be on the same page.
Every now and then in life, you're presented with some opportunities that you just can't let pass up. And I've always wanted to play against the guys in the Big East because, the Big East is the best conference or one of the best conferences in the nation. So I want to get a chance to test myself against the best, because if I can't play against the best, then I can't go on to the next level.
For Rutgers, it means continuing to expand on what the Scarlet Knights have already begun, securing the home state of New Jersey and bringing in top talent to compete in the new Big East.
Well, in the metropolitan area, like you mentioned, there's a lot of players, and what we try to do is just keep that flavor in it in order to keep the fan base coming in and keep the excitement in the program. And there's a lot of players in the area. You just got to get out and find the right ones that fit Rutgers. But you just got to be a certain kid to go here academically first and foremost is the most important thing, and then they got to fit the way we play, you know. And once you find that, you can have a lot of success right here because a lot of the kids in the area play the way we want to play.
The way college basketball is, especially with the new schools entering our conferences, everyone is now a national recruit. There's no more local kids, but that's great because our local area has now expanded to Chicago and Milwaukee and some great basketball cities and some great basketball areas. Our focus is always going to be our backyard, and that's a place where the best players, you look around the country, guys having great careers, and even in the NBA, guys that are just Jersey kids just excelling and succeeding. We want to make sure that they know that Rutgers is a place for them.
The Scarlet Knights have many things to offer top recruits, including a strong academic foundation and the RAC, one of the league's loudest and most dynamic arenas.
There's a great synergy here between our fans, the building, and our team, and it all comes together in one. You can almost sense at the end of warm-ups that the fans are saying, all right, we're ready to go. There's no other place on the East Coast to play college basketball than the RAC. Guys really love to come to games. It's a great thing for our recruiting efforts as the guys just see the best fans in the country cheering. It's amazing.
And of course, a major reason why so many recruits choose to play for the Scarlet Knights, the chance to play for Coach Gary Waters.
This program with Coach Waters, because he's a real good coach. I'm real happy to be a part of this program, and I think this program is just getting better each year. He's getting the right players here, and he's getting like we having a good chemistry.
You ready to shoot? Good job, good job, good job.
I mean, like you said, he's a great experienced coach. You know, he been coaching for like, 25 years or something like that, maybe even longer. But like you said, he been in the game a lot, so, you know, he knows about the ups and downs, about certain things and stuff like that, you know. And that's why I came here, just to learn a lot from him.
The opportunity came for me to go to Rutgers when I decided to transfer. You know, the chance to play for Coach Waters, who's had previous success, and the chance to play in the Big East is just an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
If I think I got this guy set up, fake that, get it in.
The Big East has produced the last two NCAA champions in Syracuse and UConn. It's also the only league to ever place 3 teams in the Final Four in a single season back in 1985 when Villanova shocked Georgetown. The league sent 7 teams to the Big Dance in 1991 and may very well produce that many this season, if not more. With the addition of the 5 new teams set to begin play next year in the Big East, watch out, because the beast that is the Big East will be an even bigger force to be reckoned with. Coming up, we'll have more with Coach Gary Waters. Stay tuned.
Good night. Good morning.
British Airways, a better sleep in business class.
The 260 horsepower supercharged Grand Prix Comp G. The new 275 horsepower GXP. And now, the 350 horsepower GTO. See your local Pontiac dealer today.
The best damn sports show, period.
Welcome back inside the Student Center here on the College Avenue campus of Rutgers University. And Coach, a little bit interesting for you this week. You get a chance to step outside of the Big East with your game against Arkansas and Monticello.
Oh, yes. And, you know, at the beginning of the year, you wondered, why would you play a game like this? But when you're down in a situation where you have an off period and you don't want to lose your continuity and how well you're playing and how you're getting that experience during that time, you want to plug in someone. And what occurs is most league teams will not play outside of their league during that period of time. So you have to go down a little bit and bring someone in.
And certainly an opportunity for some other guys to get some time and take advantage of the situation and opportunity.
And definitely, and you know, and we picked a team that's a very good team, so it's going to be competitive, and that's one of the things we were looking for.
Coach, looking ahead to your next couple ball games, beginning with West Virginia, a hot team that's gotten themselves back into the postseason picture.
Oh boy, I tell you, and you know, at the beginning of the year, they were playing extremely well. I mean, they beat some rated teams early and on their home court. So, you know, I think they have some quality wins. Now, coming into the Big East, I think they realize if they can at least get to 500 or a game over, they have a chance for the shot to get into the NCAA.
And to prepare for them, they do a great job running offense. I would think that's one of your keys.
Yes, definitely. You have to shut them down. If you don't, you know, and that was evident when Seton Hall went there the other night, and they went there and they scored 95 points. When you do that, it's hard to play.
And next up, Notre Dame, a team that's also playing well, making a push, getting themselves back into the picture for an NCAA bid, and it all starts with Chris Thomas.
Oh, he's the key, and I mean, he's, you know, the premier point guard in our conference. He's led this team for 4 years, and they're also trying to get into postseason play. So everyone's looking to do that.
All right, well, next up, Coach, we'll take a look at Waters Ways. Academics, a huge part of the student-athlete process, and we'll get a good look inside. I know you are very in tune to making sure that your kids give a good effort in the classroom as well as on the court.
Oh, definitely, because that's their future. You know, even though we concentrate and we focus on this game of basketball, but your life is built around how you educate yourself to go out into the real world.
And at times, coaches give that lip service, but when you first came here to Rutgers, that's the first and only thing that you concentrated on, and I think you really set the tone here.
Yeah, and I think you have to do that because they have to know where you're coming from and what's important in your life. And in my life, it's always been to educate yourself, and that's what I want to do with these young men.
All right, we'll take a closer look at the academic side of Rutgers basketball next up on Waters Ways.
Basketball, this 4-year experience that these guys have is very short. It goes very fast, and if you don't have your academic, you know, foundation, you can't go out and be successful. You know, and so many times I think in our society, so much is based off of wins, losses, how many points you score, and all those things. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your degree, you can't go out and be successful. And we try to, you know, kind of enforce that and instill that into our players, that they understand that they got to go out and be good students. You know, and actually, when you're a good student in the classroom, you're a good player too, because you got to be a student of the game in order to understand how to play. So a lot of times, players don't understand that goes hand in hand. If you're a good student, you'll be a good basketball player. Because a lot of things you got to take in mentally in order to be good on that floor.
First of all, he holds 3 degrees, so anybody that holds 3 degrees and values education himself is obviously going to want that for his team or for his family. So he always is pushing academics to make sure that they're going to take care of their school first, basketball second.
We got to be able to just stay focused on our books. You know, we just can't be going to class and going to sleep and just not being focused, but you just got to go there and do some work and, you know, talk to the teacher if you need any help.
Well, it's very important here at Rutgers because Rutgers is a very good academic school. The guys here have to go to class, and Coach Waters every day makes sure that we have our breakfast table in the morning to get our guys off to a good start, and right after that we start out with a study session for them that goes for about an hour. And, you know, can't stress that enough at Rutgers because of the academics that are stressing.
I'm happy with the coach's effort of helping us with our education and make it a lot more easier to do both, play basketball and do schoolwork together.
Coach Waters is fantastic to work with. It's so easy because we're on the same page. We have the same goal in mind, and that goal is the student athlete. And that's the only person that matters, is making sure that student athlete gets what he needs academically and that he ultimately ends up in that cap and gown.
He's a very educated man who has a well-educated background, and he understands the value of college education, and he knows that the college education will make you more successful than a basketball career.
And that's most important. I mean, academics comes first. We're here, we're student athletes, so we have to fulfill our requirements in the classroom before we get out to the basketball court.
Academically, he just wants us to put our best foot forward and just give it all the same amount of effort that we give on the court in practice and games. He wants us to try to exert that same effort and energy and focus to our teachers and to our academics, you know, because they go hand in hand.
Coming up, our night profile with Jimmy Inglis.
Here we go, steal, down the middle, 1-on-1, bang him, dunk! Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. You think I'm running all over you on like a treadmill. I am the greatest! I'm the greatest. Can't stop it. It's bad hot. I'm telling you, I'm just super nice in it, you know? That's all. When you nice, right?
That's all that's all. When top athletes get injured, they rely on the rehab specialists at Sports Physical Therapy to get them off the sidelines and back on the field. The professionals at Sports PT help people of all ages and activity levels, from the weekend warrior to the NFL linebacker, treating knee, shoulder, back, and neck injuries. With 4 locations in New Jersey, we're just around the corner. Visit us at sportsphysicaltherapy.com or call 1-888-REHAB-PT and get back into the game of life.
Welcome back to Inside Rutgers Basketball. And Coach, a lot of your first-year guys have really stepped in and given you good contributions. Jimmy Inglis the other day against UConn, 8 points and 5 boards. Certainly coming off the hand injury when he missed 3 games. That's got to be a good lift.
Oh, it was for him because, you know, he had been down 3 games, and to come back and play a team of that magnitude and go out and do the things he did inside. I thought he really worked them inside. He did up and under moves. He had hook shots. I mean, he had an array of shots going on, and he was also rebounding the basketball, and that's what you need to have out of Jimmy Inglis.
And that's not the easiest front line to score against, but with his size at 6'9", he certainly can give you a presence inside. If there's one thing that he needs to continue to work on to become a better player for next season in this offseason, what would that be?
Well, a couple things. I think he has to work on his strength because physically he needs to work on that. And with his strength, he has to work on his vertical ability. And that's, you know, and people say, well, you can't improve vertical. I think you can. You have to just make your legs stronger. And the other thing is he got to work on his endurance so he can give you more time out there on the floor.
All right, well, we'll get a closer look at him in this week's night profile. A good look at the 6'9" junior from St. Lucia, Jimmy Inglis.
Well, Jimmy is really a great kid. Jimmy has been tremendous in what he has brought to our program. He's a great kid. He's a very hard worker. He's really gained a lot in the short time that he's been here.
Jimmy, you know, especially being a junior college kid, a lot of times, you know, when we talk about chemistry, I think he's the right fit for this program. He's not he doesn't, you know, talk a whole lot, but his facial expressions, and when he does talk, he's saying something that's meaningful, and I think the guys really enjoy him.
Coming in off the bench, you got to bring energy. I try to do that a lot defensively, try to rebound, you know, help the guys out so when they come back and they're ready to go again.
He's a very skilled low post scorer, so if you throw that ball down to him in the block, there's a great chance that he's going to be able to find a way to score. He's got a bag of tricks that keeps everybody off balance. Jimmy is a great kid, and next year he's going to be the only senior on our team too. So we'll expect some leadership from Jimmy next year, and it'll be his opportunity.
You know, he's giving us a punch inside where we can get the ball in there again, and I think he's learning on, you know, what the program's about and what his role is, and I think he's going to have a bright future if he just continues to work hard and just go out and give his, you know, the best effort he can every time he's on the floor.
Coach Marins, he helped me a lot. He showed me some new things that would help me in the Big East especially. He always been on me positively. That's one thing I always liked. And he told me just be confident and everything will work out.
Lock out!
There we go, there we go. Transformational practice to the game, it's a little different, but in the game it's more detailed according to who you play against. So that's the number one thing that I take into when I'm going to the game. Because you play a guy on a different team, you bring different things. Not everybody is the same. It's physical down there. But knowing what I could do and the guys I played before, it all comes to the same to me. The game's the same, it never changed.
Jimmy Inglis is working hard every day in practice to help improve his low post play. And through the hard work, Inglis continues to provide the Scarlet Knights with much needed help in the paint.
Yeah, I work on vertical elite, boxing out, stuff like that to get rebound, offensive position. Coach Mans taught me how to use my body more to get positioning under the basket. So these things really help me out. Now, I want to get better condition-wise, stuff like that, stronger. So I think I'll be have a great offseason this year, coming in for my senior year.
Well, Coach, that's a good look at Jimmy, and obviously a junior college transfer stepping in and giving you some time here in his first year. Talk a little bit about that transition from junior college to the Division I level.
Well, it's a big transition because you're playing at a higher level. You're playing in front of more people each and every night. In junior college, the most you're going to get is 2,000 ever. And so when you go and come into this, everyone's focusing on what you do, but also the level of play increases. They're bigger, they're stronger, and Jimmy being big anyway, he had to adjust to making sure that he uses that in a manner that can help him be successful against these guys. But also, all the rigorous things you have to do and then add in the strong academic base. It becomes a difficult chore.
All right, Coach. Well, that'll wrap it up for this week's edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. Good being here with you for 2 weeks as Bruce will get back from spring training and join you again next week.
Oh, definitely.
All right, and again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
This is Bruce Beck, and you're watching another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. This week, we go on the road to West Virginia with the Scarlet Knights. We invite Rutgers students to ask the coach a question. In Waters' Ways, it's the concept of family. And in our night profile, it's transfer student Frank Russell. All that and more coming up next on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Here we go, steal, down the middle, 1-on-1, bang him, dunk! Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. You think I'm running all over y'all like a treadmill. I am the greatest! I'm the greatest. Can't stop it. It's bad hot. I'm telling you, I'm just super nice in it, you know? That's all. When you nice right
That's like a dish towel.
PSE&G has deep roots in our communities. Each year, our employees invest thousands of hours of their own personal time in the communities we serve. Walking for healthier babies, volunteering at soup kitchens, and helping children learn are just a few of the many worthy causes. And their commitment? Genuine. PSE&G is proud to continue this tradition as we work toward a brighter future. PSE&G, we make things work for our community.
From the Cook College campus in New Brunswick, New Jersey, we welcome you to another edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Beck, along with the coach, Gary Waters, and we are down to the final stages of the college basketball season. Gary, it's time to dig in. You're in the home stretch.
Oh, definitely. It's time where you got to go out and lay everything on the line and go and play as hard as you can and hope something positive come out of it.
How do you deal with emotions this late in the year? Because emotions are frayed. You talk about the fragility of players. How do you deal with it as a coach?
Well, you know, that's a key to having success because you can go up or you can go down. And if you build everything on the goal you're trying to achieve, then if you don't achieve that goal, you go real down. So I try to get our guys to focus on what's best for them and what makes them the best they can be and then go ahead.
Do you still think about basics even though it's late in the year?
Oh, you have to. You know, for instance, we just played a game and we're coming back today and that's what we're going to work on, the basic issues.
Talk about that ball game against West Virginia. Gary, what about your man-to-man pressure defense, especially in the first half? You had 10 men on the floor, a lot of guys contributing. What were your thoughts on putting the pressure on the Mountaineers?
Well, we made a commitment starting our last game that even though we have 3 games left and we have the Big East tournament, we want to get into where we're going to play for the future of this program. We're going to get after it. We're going to get after it as hard as you can get after it. We're going to press. We're going to make chaos occur out there, and those are the things we're going to do.
And you did force a lot of chaos. 11 steals in that ball game, a season high. What about your defensive emphasis?
Well, you know, that's a key. To have success in this league, you have to be a good defensive team. And at times we haven't done that, and I think that's one of the keys why we're at the stage we're at right now.
Quincy Doobie and Ricky Shields are both finding the touch at the right time with the tournament just around the corner. What about that combination?
Well, they're starting to feel more comfortable with themselves. You know, we went through a period there where they couldn't buy a basket, and even though they felt comfortable, they just couldn't buy one. And that happens in basketball. You have to understand that. You know, you live and die by that jump shot, but the key is if you can get through it and then you get back on it, you're in good shape.
Byron Jones, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 block shots. You got nice contribution from him.
You know, he's starting to improve. I'm telling you that. You know, from the beginning of this year in which he had limited experience to this stage right now, he's getting better and better and better.
Jewel Wiggin, 5 steals. You can't ask for a better job than that.
He worked hard out in that game, and it was a team effort. Everyone went after the ball. Everyone was working hard, and like I said, we wanted to create chaos.
All right, let's talk about the ball game against Arkansas Monticello, a Division II team ranked in the top 25 in the nation. Gary, you get a W. What does it mean to the club just to come away with a win?
Oh, they needed one drastically. I mean, but it was good. It was good for them to go out and just free their minds and their bodies and just their whole playing ability out there. They went out and played hard and got some things accomplished.
Jimmy Inglis tied his career high, played very well, 10 points.
Yes, and you know, Jimmy, as you know, has been injured, and he was out for 3 or 4 games, and now he's back, and he's starting to feel himself a little bit better, and the more he can help us, that'll help us down the line.
Quincy Doobie, 26 points. 8 of 14 from three-point land. I know guys who don't take 14 shots in a game, coach.
You know, the strange thing with that is, you know, after the game, Quincy and I talked, and I said, Quincy, you probably could have hit 4 or 5 others. He said, yep, if they'd have gave me the ball, I'd hit 4 or 5 others. You know, during those runs, when you're hot and you're feeling good and you feel comfortable, you have to let it flow, and that's what he did.
You know what was nice about that ball game? The unselfishness of your club. 14 of your first 15 baskets were assists, which means guys were giving themselves up for others.
Well, we went into that game with a goal, and we list the number of goals on the board before we go out there. One of the goals was to obtain 20 assists. And that's hard to do because you have to primarily complete on 3/4 of your attempts to make that occur. So
and ended up with 23.
Yeah, that tells you something. I mean, I don't remember how many baskets were made, but at the same time, you know, I think our guys set that in their mind as a goal. Let's go out there and accomplish it. And when you do that, you're going to be unselfish. You're going to hit the open man. You're going to pass the ball and have a good time out there.
All right, coming up next on Inside Rutgers Basketball, we'll take you on the road to West Virginia, to Morgantown, and we'll check out the experience when we come back on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Imagine bringing a catalog to life by customizing it for each team.
Higher standards.
Inside Rutgers Basketball rolls on from the Cook College campus in New Brunswick. And Gary, in just a couple of moments, you're going to take some questions from the students, so I know you're looking forward to that part.
Well, the best thing of this whole outlook here.
We talked about the road, and Gary, you and your ball club went to Morgantown, West Virginia. It's not just a ball game that you go to play, it's really an experience.
Oh, yes. You have to start the day you leave to start preparing for that game and that experience, as you say. When you go on the road, it's a concentration level. You know, some of the things we even do, we have study table on the road. I mean, there's not just basketball involved in this process. So they have to concentrate. We have film sessions. We have academic sessions on basketball. They have to take a test before they play their game to know everything about that opposing team. We have practice at a gym, and then we have a shoot around the day before. So it's a long, drawn-out process.
Do you believe in that saying that sometimes a team can come together on the road?
They should. And I think that's a key. You know, 1 year here at Rutgers, we're going to go on a trip, a foreign trip, and I think that's going to help this team propel itself to even take another step. You know, I did some statistics on that, and teams that go on those trips and bond together, they come away with an 80% winning record that year.
What did you say the date was for that trip? Are we going to Europe?
Well, let me tell you, it looks like it's Italy. So okay.
Very nice, Coach. I'd love to go to Rome and enjoy the experience with you. Right now, a look at Rutgers on the road. It's our cover story.
I think that on the road, we need to create, as much as we can, a home feeling where although they're on the road, whereas as much as we can, because of the coaches being around them and them building up a nice camaraderie with their teammates, that they feel comfortable on the road so that when they go out and perform, it's not as stressful. You try to create as much as you can an atmosphere of being at home, although you're on the road. What we try to do on the road is to simulate our home conditions on the road to make the guys feel as comfortable as possible. We set up our practice times as close to our times here at home so that our guys get a feeling of home, having the same practice times, and try to have as much of a home feeling as possible. That go into making a trip, well, we have to make sure we have our meals coordinated.
Amen.
Yeah, a typical day will start out at the opponent's visiting place with a breakfast in the morning, maybe a meeting right before our practice time. We try to get our trainer a table where we're taping our guys.
Johnson back on the pregame show, heading up to tip-off time of our Big East game here in Morgantown. Rutgers getting set to take on West Virginia. And time now to talk to RU head coach Gary Waters.
You know, they're a good team. They do what they do and they don't change. The thing that we have to do is that we got to keep them off balance. That's going to be a key thing. You know, if we're not matched up, and like for instance, you put a forward, one of our big forwards, on a Sally, that gives Sally the advantage. So we got to continue to look at that.
Well, Gary, have a great game today here in Morgantown.
Thanks. We're going away.
Five-out motion we talked about, but they will look to run, especially at home. Don't underestimate. If they get the ball and they got a chance to get up the floor, they'll kick it up and try and get some layups.
You got to understand, the fans and everybody. So we got to go into these places and we got to silence people, okay? We got literally silence.
Everybody give the energy, though. Don't leave nothing out, yo. Go out there and play as hard as you can. Don't leave nothing on the floor, yo. You leaving here with no regrets today, yo. Hard work on three. 1, 2, 3. Hard work!
Coming up, it's time for questions and answers. Stay with us. Now it's that part of the program we call Waters Ways. This week, it's the importance of family.
Family, what I would say about his philosophy with the family is he really wants the chemistry to be much like a family, good times and bad times. Because when you have a family, you're going to have times where you might get on each other's nerves, or you're going to have times when things aren't going well, and that's when the family is really an important part.
Well, there's more important things than basketball, so we really focus on family, because after basketball's all said and done, you still have to, you still have to survive out there in the real world.
He lets us come to his house. We spend time with his whole family. Like, we are part of his family.
Our family is really important, be able to be there for the other teammate. If something wrong with them, talk to them. If something going wrong with their family or other personal life, be able to tell them what to do or what not to do.
The base of college basketball, I think, is you got to convince recruits that your school is the best. So you have to deal with them and their family and their extended basketball family. As soon as they're exposed to the Rutgers family, they realize that it's genuine and that it's true. And with, like as any family, they'll be good, they'll be bad, there'll be up times and low times. But I think one thing that's always said about the Rutgers family is those guys are genuine, they trust in each other, and they want what's best for every member of their family.
To some of these young men that don't live locally, we're their family for the 9 months that they're here. They need to understand that they can come to us with any concerns. We're around them enough so that they feel comfortable that they can address us on any issue that'll help them get through school and through their season.
We are a family. The basketball team, everybody, from Randy Larson to Sean Wendell, they're all part of our family.
As a family, I think he wants each guy to help each guy and pull him up when he's down or keep him even killed when he thinks maybe he's arrived, because the season's so long, has a lot of pits and valleys, so you got to be ready for those things. And I think just overall, the whole experience of just being a teammate, helping guys out and spending time with each other, not just so much, like I said, basketball-wise, but just, being a friend.
Coach Waters, he loves family. He doesn't want one person sticking out like a sore thumb. He wants everybody to feel like everyone's loved.
Families have ups, families have downs, families get mad at each other sometimes about certain things that are going on, but families always able to communicate and get through those tough times. A man's character is not judged by how he is when everything's going good, but how it's going in the face of adversity.
We're back at the Cook College campus in New Brunswick, and it's time for our question and answer period for the head coach, Gary Waters. So we've got some students ready to pose some questions. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Lena Yankovic. I'm from Marlboro, New Jersey.
All right, Lena, you got the floor. You got a question to the coach.
All right, my question for you, Coach, is how do you see the season next year?
Well, we're excited about next year, but not forgetting about this year. We still have time left in this year, but next year we're bringing in some young players, some new players. We have some players sitting out, and when you combine the players that we have with this year, I think it's going to be an exciting year next year.
All right, well done, Coach. We've got another question for you, and it comes from
Matt Tornafang.
Matt, fire away.
I wanted to ask the coach how he felt about the expansion of the Big East next season.
Well, everyone's talking about that, Matt, the expansion of it. In essence, they're saying it's going to be the best conference in America. I believe even this year we're the best conference in America, but when you take the teams you're adding in, like Cincinnati, Louisville, DePaul, South Florida, and one other I'm missing there, and Marquette, yes, Marquette, and they're all having great years this year. You put them in with the teams that are having good years this year, it's going to be an awesome conference.
From the expansion of the Big East to another big question, we've got our next guest. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Samantha Black, and I'm from Westfield, New Jersey.
What would you like to ask the coach?
Well, my question is, I was wondering if he could give us a preview of next year's schedule.
Well, we're excited about next year, and the schedule is going to be very good. And one of the things I think is unique about the schedule for everyone out there is that we're going to play 18 home games, so you get to see your team the entire year as they play. We'll also play teams in our non-conference schedule, such as Kansas State. We'll play Charlotte and even Temple. That's a nearby team. These are teams that are pretty good. But in our conference schedule, we're adding those new teams like Cincinnati and South Florida and Marquette, teams that are very strong. So it's going to be a very competitive schedule on the road as well as at home.
We've got another student with another question for Gary Waters. What's your name?
My name is Pamela Curry.
Where are you from?
I'm from Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey.
All right, what do you want to ask Gary?
And I just wanted to know how the season will end and how he thinks he'll do in the Big East.
Pamela, everyone wants to know how we're going to do as the season ends. We have one game left, and that'll probably be a tough game for us as Boston College, but we're at home, and our fans can help us get through this. We're excited about the Big East tournament because that's going to propel us into next year, and whatever we do in there is going to get us going for next year.
All right, time for another question from one of the students, and the crowd has really been going wild for your question. What's your name?
My name is Mike.
Why are they so supportive?
I don't know. I'm just a Cook College favorite, I guess.
Okay. Where are you from, Mike?
Philadelphia.
What's your question for the coach?
You had spoke earlier about your away game and the segment you did on that. I was just wondering what Coach Waters' favorite away college is to play at.
Well, if we go by the teams we've played throughout the last couple of years, it's a team that's not in the conference anymore, and that's Miami of Florida. And we really enjoyed it going down to South Beach. We had opportunity to see the fans, the people, everything down there. We had a great time. It was a great experience for us. Now, next year we'll get that opportunity again because we'll play South Florida, and down there will be a good time.
Coach, can we do the show down in Florida, by the way? And through the magic of television, by the way, I reappeared on your side. You notice that?
Oh, I see that. I mean, that's tremendous when you'd be right in my face right like that.
We'll take a short time out. I'll talk to the coach, and we'll have some final thoughts on Inside Rutgers Basketball in a moment.
Here we go. Steal down the middle. 1-on-1. Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get it up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. You think I'm running all over y'all like a treadmill. I am the greatest. I'm the greatest. Can't stop it. It's bad hot. I'm telling you. I'm just super nice in it, That's all. When you nice right
A game of life.
Inside Rutgers Basketball continues. We're at the Cook College campus in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And Gary, this week it's time once again for our night profile. Our focus is on a guy that I don't think the folks at home know, Frank Russell, but he's a transfer student and he's been practicing with you all year long.
Oh, yes. Frank should be a great addition to us next year. Frank is 6'11", weigh about 230, 240, and he can run the floor. He's very athletic, block shots, and he can score inside. And that's something we need for our future. And he's excited because he's been with us the entire time.
And he's had some experience. He played 2 years at Hampton University, so he's ready to go, right?
He's biting at the bit. He wants to get out there on that floor. And but the thing he does is challenge our players at practice, and that's a key. You need that practice team to go against every day at practice, and he's one of the key factors.
Frank Russell from Fayetteville, North Carolina is in our night profile.
The opportunity came for me to go to Rutgers when I decided to transfer from Hampton, and the chance to play for Coach Waters, who's had previous success, and the chance to play in the Big East is just an opportunity I couldn't pass up. Every now and then in life you're presented with some opportunities that you just can't let pass up, and I've always wanted to play against the guys in the Big East because the Big East is the best conference, or one of the best conferences in the nation. So I want to get a chance to test myself against the best, because if I can't play against the best, then I can't go on to the next level. Since I'm redshirting this year and I'm on the red team, we have to prepare the team for the next team that they're going to play. So I have to know all the team sets, and every week I have to know a different team sets. So we play a really important role in helping the team get prepared and everything. I think this year is just helping me, retain information better. So when next year comes, I just have to know Rutgers plays, and I should be fine. The walk-ons and redshirts is probably the most underrated players in America, because we're usually on the court for most of the practice, because even when the guys aren't in practice, we're here before practice learning the plays and everything. And as practice is going on, we're still out practicing the plays on the other side of the court. And we have a lot of dedication and stuff, and we don't get the glory because we don't get in the game. Me being a redshirt, I don't get in the game, but I still have to do everything the team does plus. Adrian Hill, he's been a big help. Although he's sidelined, he's sidelined as a player, but as a teammate, he's still a part of everything. I've talked to him a lot about how things are on the Big East and what I should do with my body and my game to prepare for next year. He's been a real big help. He loves to win, and he loves precision. He'll get on you quick and let you know if you're not doing things the way they're supposed to be done. And I think in this league you have to be a perfectionist, because it's the minor things that kill you in this league.
Russell is using this season as a learning experience and is soaking up the knowledge about basketball and to further his education. Thus far, he's made the adjustment well.
It wasn't that bad, surprisingly. First semester wasn't that bad. I just had to take some required classes because I transferred from Hampton. A lot of my credits didn't carry over, so I had to transfer and take some classes that I needed to graduate. It wasn't that bad first semester. I'm pretty sure it's going to get a little bit tougher, but I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I like it. It's a lot of diversity. It's very prestigious education-wise, so I think I've made a good choice. The physicality is definitely there, so I have a year to watch and learn and get my body prepared for next year, so next year comes, there'll be no excuses.
All right, you ride him up, ride him up, ride him up. You got 4 years.
Well, Gary, it's up to the final home game of the year. It's hard to believe, and you've got the Boston College Eagles coming in. It's a great challenge, top 10 team in the nation.
Oh, yes, and they're very good, and they play well on the road as well as at home. But I thought we played them hard at their place. We had the lead in the second half. We were fighting them, and they ended up ending the game on their side of the ledger. But I think we can be competitive against this team.
And it'd be a good way to get ready for the Big East tournament.
Oh, definitely, and that's what we're looking for it to be. We want this game. We want to go in there with every opportunity to win that game and then have some momentum to go into the Big East tournament.
You haven't lost any of your fight, have you?
No, if you do, it's over.
Coach, a pleasure once again. I'll see you next week.
Oh, definitely. Take care, Bruce.
That's it for Inside Rutgers Basketball. For the Coach Gary Waters, I'm Bruce Beck. See you next week, everybody.
Mets baseball is back on MSG. Catch Beltran, Pedro, and the new look Masons when they battle the Dodgers. Friday night at 7 on MSG Network.
Bruce Beck, inviting you to join me for the season finale of Inside Rutgers Basketball. On this week's show, we get a look at some of the sights and sounds of the 2004-2005 campaign. In Waters' Ways, we take a sneak peek at Rutgers' outstanding recruiting class. We preview the Scarlet Knights Big East tournament matchup with the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And in the Knight Profile, a look at a pair of seniors who will be closing their careers in style, Jewel Wiggin and Ricky Shields. All that and more coming up next on Inside Rutgers Basketball.
Here we go, steal, down the middle, 1-on-1, bang him, dunk. Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Hey man, does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get it up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. I'm running all over y'all like a treadmill. I am the greatest. I'm the greatest. Can't stop it. It's bad hot. I'm telling you, I'm just super nice in it, That's all. When you nice right
That's like a dish towel. PSE&G has deep roots in our communities. Each year, our employees invest thousands of hours of their own personal time in the communities we serve. Walking for healthier babies, volunteering at soup kitchens, and helping children learn are just a few of the many worthy causes.
and their commitment, genuine. PSE&G is proud to continue this tradition as we work toward a brighter future. PSE&G, we make things work for our community.
From the Rutgers Athletic Center at Piscataway, New Jersey, we welcome you to the season finale of Inside Rutgers Basketball. Hi, everybody. I'm Bruce Beck, along with the coach, Gary Waters. Rutgers' final regular season game against the Boston College Eagles right here at the RAC this past Saturday. And, Gary, it was a heck of a ball game, especially the way you battled back in the second half.
Oh, yes. I thought the kids came and didn't back down. They played hard, and they went after it, and they put themselves in a position right there. We just couldn't finish it out.
You were down by 17 at one point. You cut the gap to 6 in the second half. What were you pleased about during that stretch?
Well, we went down by 17 in the early part of the second half, and it was only because, not that they were overpowering us, because we missed 3 straight layups in a row. Now, if you take that away, now it's a 9-point game. We're fighting back. But we still fought back. The kids never backed down. We fought back. We hit some shots. We defended, and then we got right back in the game.
Quincy Doobie had 18 points, 14 in the second half, and he's really found his stroke these last 4 games.
Oh, yes. He's feeling better about himself. He's gotten over all the things that happen throughout a season, especially when you're not winning as well as you think you should have. And then now he's back at it.
Final home game for Ricky Shields, and he finishes strong with 21.
Oh, I thought he played a great game. He shot the ball well, and that's something we've been looking for a long time, so he can bring it back for us, and I thought he did a good job.
So when you look at a ball game like Boston College, you end up losing the game, but playing them well, they finished first in the league. Are you frustrated, or are you pleased with the effort?
Well, the effort, I wasn't frustrated at all. I was excited about the effort. But I was frustrated only to the point that I felt we could have won that game. And that would have given us more lift to go into the Big East tournament.
And one of the things you guys did extremely well is you took care of the basketball. When you don't turn it over much, you give yourselves a chance offensively.
Well, we're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league that don't turn it over. So that's our MO. We don't turn it over a lot. However, you got to make something happen when you don't turn it over.
Let's talk about one of the honors that was handed out this week by the Big East, and that was to Ollie Bailey, named to the Big East All-Rookie team. Coach, how proud are you of Ollie?
I'm very proud of Ollie, and Ollie has worked hard throughout this year, and he's had some up and down games, but they still understood his ability out there on the floor, and when he brought it very strong. This is the second year in a row that we have gotten an all-rookie team player on that team. So.
Now, Gary, in terms of size, next year you get Adrian Hill back, coming back from a difficult knee injury from this year, and also Frank Russell, the transfer, becomes eligible.
Oh, yes, and they give us more depth and strength and power, and the biggest thing they're going to bring to us is something that we have struggled with throughout this year is athleticism. They're going to make that happen for us.
When you look at some of the other guys that contributed this year, Jewel Wiggin, we'll talk more about him later, but there's a senior who gave you everything he had.
Every single bit, and he still has more left to give because he wants to go in this Big East tournament and give it all he got.
And you look at a guy like Byron Joins, who I think improved dramatically during the course of the year.
Well, at the end of the year, you give out awards. If it's not, he doesn't get most improved. There's some issues there.
What did he do? Was it his hard work? Was it learning the game better?
Well, I think he became more comfortable in his position, number one. Number two, he rebounded the basketball for us. He literally was the mainstay for us in there on a consistent basis because that's one of the areas we struggled with this year, but he always fought and was there. The biggest thing that he had to fight with is staying out of foul trouble. Once he started doing that, his game increased and rose.
Coming up a little bit later in the program, we've got a preview of the Big East tournament game between the Scarlet Knights and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. But first, we've got a musical look back at the season that was, so stick around.
Imagine bringing a catalog to life.
Welcome back to Inside Rutgers Basketball from the RAC in Piscataway. And Coach Gary Waters, it's hard to believe that the season is gone. Where did it go?
Oh, I tell you, it's like poop. It disappeared. It was, it was in at one point, and then it disappeared on us.
What about quality wins you had this year against Charlotte and Kansas State, both on the road?
Very strong wins for us. And literally, if we were in a position to be on the bubble for the NCAA, those 2 wins would be in consideration. And so I tell you, they were great wins. There was a lot of emotion. Our kids played hard, and we fought back from adversity on the road, and I thought they did a great job.
I remember the ball that went in and out here at the rack against Syracuse. Do you ever say, if that ball goes in, our season could have been different?
You want to say that, but I tell you, that was a moment that was right there, and we've had many moments like that throughout this entire year. And that, if there's any frustration with that, that's the frustration. We could have been there, but we did not get there.
Right now, a look back at the 2004-2005 campaign.
Got another one. Ricky Shields leading the way.
And what a move that time by Wiggins, the senior.
Shields from three. Ricky Shields with his first points.
And Rutgers looking to get on the board. And Doobie with the runner. He's got 6.
Good pass.
Nice look by Marquise Webb.
Shields down the lane, takes it to the hole and scores. Shields off to Waterstrat. He takes the baseline jumper and he hits. Dribbles down, takes and hits a 3 for Quincy Doobie. Doobie keeps the dribble alive, dumps it inside to Bailey.
It's a two-pointer, and it's good.
Off the glass and in.
The floor, here's Bailey, the freshman, trying to spin in on Williams out to Doobie for a deep 3.
Casada, let's play. Manny Casada.
Stay with us.
Ah, here we are. The Royal Beef Eaters. Originally from France. Keep eating. They were called Bouffidier. And their job was to protect the king's food.
Of world.
Know more, do more.
The Big East tournament is just around the corner. Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Rutgers Basketball. And Gary, you draw Notre Dame in the opening round. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, if you look at all the teams that are the top teams, and you think of a team you don't mind playing, would be Notre Dame. And I only say that not because they're not a good team, because they are a very good team. The key is we match up well personally with them. Our personnel matches their guards. our post guy matches their post guy.
And the first time that Rutgers took on Notre Dame this year in South Bend, the Scarlet Knights lost by 10, but you dominated the backboards, 19 offensive rebounds.
Yes, and I tell you, it was a very good game. The 10 points don't literally tell you how the game went.
Right.
Because we took a lead in the second half, had a chance, and all the opportunities was there. Again, something that we have struggled with throughout this year, we just didn't close it out.
You were down 1 at the half, and yet you shot 28%. They shot 52%. So you got to believe that that bodes well if you shoot it a little bit better.
Yeah, and I was wondering, I was talking to our staff. I said, how can we shoot 28% and they shoot 50-something% and you stay in the game? And I think when I surmised it and put it all together, what I thought occurred was when the offensive rebounding. We would get a second rebound and then miss again. So we had 2 shots to their 1 every time.
Falls, Quinn, and Thomas combined for 42 of their 66 points in that game. So how do you slow down their guards?
Oh, I tell you, they're great guards. Thomas obviously is an all-league player, and you have Falls, who's really, really shooting the ball extremely well. And then you have Quinn, who's, in my estimation, is one of the most improved players in the Big East. We have to just focus on them, Now, that may cause something in the inside to get hurt a little bit, but we have to focus on them and do a great job of shutting them down.
And English and Joins combined for 16 points and 21 boards in that ball game against Notre Dame. So you got good productivity for your big guys.
I thought we did, and I thought our guys came out and just was aggressive and physical. And I think that's how you have to play their guys inside, because their guys are active and they're athletic and they're physical. So we have to do the same, and I thought our guys did that in that game.
So Rutgers on Wednesday at 9 p.m. going up against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You feel good about your ball club going in?
I do. I think it's time for us to do something. That season's over with. That's the positive thing. That's completely over with. It's gone. We don't know where it went. It's over. Now we're taking this season and starting anew and say, let's go after it right now.
And if you want to take it a step further, the future, you got to talk about the recruits that you've brought in this past year. That's going to be our focus in a moment, but what are your thoughts on the 4 guys that are coming in?
Oh, I feel very good about them, and I think they'll contribute to us. We need that. It's going to be a different looking team next year. We'll be more athletic. We'll defend, in my estimation, a lot harder. And, the other thing is we'll be just more of a physical, tough team.
For more stuff on recruiting, the inside look, we take a look at Waters' ways, and this week's topic, recruiting.
I think, our recruiting class in 2005 is maybe one of the best ones we've had, at least in recent history here at Rutgers.
I think our athleticism is going to increase, and you're going to get a chance to really see us play the way Gary wants us to play. We're getting up and down and pressuring people and how the athletes to do it.
We begin with J.R. Inman, the 6'9" forward from St. Joe's High School in Montvale, New Jersey. Last year, he averaged a double-double on his way to first-team All-Bergen County honors, as well as first-team All-North Jersey honors. This long, athletic frontline player has the ability to make a major impact at Rutgers next season.
Very versatile, takes the ball very strong to the basket, has great range, has great handling and passing ability for a guy his size. The other thing that he adds to us, and in this entire recruiting class, is athleticism.
He gives us that 3-man that's pretty athletic, can get up and down and run and do those things, so we're extremely excited about him.
We're just so fortunate to have him join our program. He's a class kid, he's a class player, and he's going to have a great career here at Rutgers.
Jerron Griffin, the 6'7" wing from Manchester Regional High School in New Jersey, averaged 24 points and 14 boards as a junior on his way to becoming the Ocean County Player of the Year. This is a young man who has already surpassed the 1,500-point mark and has amassed over 1,000 rebounds in his high school career.
As a 6'6", 6'7" wing, he's learning how to play the guard position more. He is very, very athletic. He's got a great knack for rebounding. In fact, Jerron is the all-time leading scorer at Manchester High School and the all-time leading rebounder at high schools, which is really a great testament to the versatility of his play.
Anthony Farmer is a 6'2" guard from St. Augustine Prep in South Jersey. He has led his team in scoring, assists, and steals in each of the past 3 seasons. As a junior, he was second-team All-State, and in the parochial state finals, he scored 32 points against Seton Hall Prep.
Anthony brings a multitude of things to our program that we're going to need. Certainly a guy that can handle the basketball, distribute the basketball. He's a great teammate. He's a great team leader. He's a coach on the floor. I mean, he's a guy that you just really love to have in your program.
Anthony Farmer is a little fire plug of a kid. He's one of those kids who just reeks leadership. I think he's going to have a great impact on our program. He's a winner. As all the recruits are, he's a winner. And as soon as you see that, you know it right away.
Zach Gibson is a 6'9" center from Grand Blanc, Michigan, who is ranked as the #1 center in the entire state. After averaging a double-double as a junior, he's having a fine season. This past summer, Zach showcased his talent for the Michigan Mustangs, a top AAU program.
If you look at the 6'10" kid, Zach Gibson, who's the #1 center coming out of Michigan in the 2005 class, he is a very athletic, gifted, skilled basketball player. He has great ability to step out as well as be a force in and around the basket. His biggest weakness right now is he just needs to gain weight and strength, but that's going to come with time.
All of these players are wrapping up their high school careers, and they will be terrific additions to the Rutgers program. Recruiting experts and the RU staff are excited about what this class will bring in the future. Coming up, a look at a pair of seniors who will be closing their careers in style.
Here we go, steal, down the middle, 1-on-1. Did you see what I see? Because I saw a robbery. Hey, man, does anybody want a Coke? Yeah, we get up, man. Hey, you crazy, man? That's Corinthian leather. And use the footstool to get to the refrigerator. You think I'm running all over you?
Inside Rutgers Basketball rolls on, and it's time for the night profile. This week, a little different twist, Gary. We talk about two seniors, Jewel Wiggin and Ricky Shields, both who have played their final season for you. You going to miss those guys?
Oh, I'm going to miss them greatly because they've been mainstays in this program, and they've been people that have really been committed to what we've been doing. Both leaders this year doing a great job in that area, and you don't really realize how great a job they did, because when you're not having all the success you want, you need people within the program to keep the program strong, and they did a very good job.
Ricky Shields finishes as the 8th all-time leading scorer in Rutgers history and is the #1 man in terms of trifectas.
Oh, boy, I tell you, that speaks for itself, and that tells you how much he has meant to this program, all the success last year, going to the NIT finals, all the things, his ability to shoot the ball, those things come back, and you think about those things. And okay, the unique thing about what has happened in his past is that he has completed a lot of things. When you think about Ricky Shields, the games he has had, and what he did in certain games we did at the first year that we played in this program.
Right.
You got to remember that. I mean, he came out and hit great threes, and that three started then, then it carried on all the way throughout his entire career. When you can do that, that means you've been a consistent person for this program.
And the stat that means the most, I think, when you talk about Jewel Wiggin, is 119 ball games.
Oh, he's been consistent. Every game he's been there, he's contributed, he's been a part of it, and he's been a reason why we've had the success we've had here.
Time for the night profile. This week, it's Wiggin and Shields. 4 years of basketball. It's been quite an experience for Ricky Shields of the Scarlet Knights.
It has been everything that I thought it would be. Coming into Rutgers, my whole goal was to try to put them on the map, try to get, a little name going for them. And, it was some tough times and it was some good times during those tough times. But overall, I think everything that I went through here from my first day on campus has made me into the person and leader that I am today.
If someone told us that 4 years ago Ricky would end up being in the top 7 or 8 in scoring here at Rutgers, I don't know if we would have believed that, but he just consistently has performed over those 4 years, and just the whole place, when our three-point shot's in the air, you can feel the energy going up. Ricky for three, you can hear it in your sleep some nights, but Ricky is, when he gets it going, he's as good as anybody.
Shields pulls up and hits a huge three.
Ricky Shields is known best for his three-point shot. A matter of fact, he heads into the Big East tournament with 259 trifectas, the most in Rutgers history. He also ranks 8th on the school's all-time scoring list with 1,549 points. He'll go down as one of the best all-around players in Rutgers basketball history. Ricky was honored on senior night, and the fans showed their appreciation for old number 2. Jewel Wiggin has come a long way since his freshman season. He has earned the respect of his teammates and his coaches. And most importantly, he has prospered, both on and off the court.
The shot up and in. Jewel Wiggin.
He's what college basketball is about, is that he exchanged his 4 years of playing for his degree. He's walking with his degree, but at least he leaves Rutgers with his degree. And too many times we focus just on the guys who are going to the NBA or trying to go to the NBA. Joel is going to have a great, successful life because he played hard here every moment. And those life lessons he's taken from Rutgers and his degree will leave him really prepared.
It's been a very emotional roller coaster here at Rutgers. But one thing I could say, I've learned so much things from Rutgers University that I don't think I'll learn from anywhere else. I will take the experience I've gained at Rutgers experience, and I will continue to use that once I leave Rutgers. It's been wonderful. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but it's a situation where it has helped me grow to become the person that I am today. The individuals that are around me, coaches, players, they've all helped me in the process, and I'll take that with me until I continue to leave here.
Jewel Wiggin became the 24th member of the Rutgers 200 Assist Club, and he ranks in the top 20 on the school's all-time list in steals. Jewel will be missed on the banks of the old Raritan, and at the rack the other night, on senior night, the fans saluted him in a big way. As we close out this week's show, you know, Gary, there's a beauty to this Big East tournament because if you win, you go on. Forget about that one-and-done stuff.
That's exactly right, and you know, that's what you look for. However, if you're one of those teams that have been successful throughout the entire year, then you lose that one. It's really hard for you to handle that, to move on. But if you're one of those teams, like ourselves, that haven't had the season that you expected, then you go out in that tournament, which is a whole new life, and you start winning. It will not be one and done.
Coach, good luck to you.
Oh, thank you. And we're going to go after it as hard as we can.
And it's been a pleasure working with you all season long.
All season long, and it's always great to be with you.
All right, for the coach, Gary Waters, I'm Bruce Beck. Thanks for joining us on this final edition of Inside Rutgers Basketball.